Hello and welcome. We are going to be starting a new series of videos looking at the advent of code problems. I'm going to be going through about a day or two behind and going through and actually solving these. Now, my plan is that I'm actually going to be doing these the night of, and then I'll make a video of how to actually solve the problems, either a day later or 2 days later, depending on my schedule. So let's get started. I've got day one up here, and we are already on December 9th, so I know that I'm starting late here, but hopefully we'll be able to catch up and keep going here with just a couple videos that can come out the same day. If you're not familiar with Advent of Code, I highly recommend you do it. It's good for starting programmers, or if you want to learn a new programming language, it's really, really helpful. I'm going to be going through all of these solutions in Python. This is mainly because I think Python is very simple to use in terms of a programming language. It's very good for these types of problems, very quickly coming up with solutions to these problems, which is why I'm going to use it. So we're going to start off here with the problem on day one. We'll build up some code that maybe we can reuse occasionally, and we'll see where we go from there. So let's start off with problem one here. After saving Christmas 5 years in a row, I'm not actually going to read it. I'm going to just have a link to the problem in the video below, in the information below. But what we go through here is we can read through the problem, and we need to collect 50 stars. That's 2 stars every single day, December 1st through the 25th, finishing on Christmas Day. We collect the stars by solving puzzles. 2 puzzles will be made available for each day, so we're going to have 2 parts to each particular question. And before we can escape or leave, we need to solve something with the elves. Basically, there's something wrong with the expense report, which is our puzzle input, a text file, and apparently something isn't quite adding up. So we need to find the 2 entries that sum to 2020 and then multiply those 2 numbers together. So our input is going to look something like this. It'll be a text file that looks something like this. And we're going to need to find the 2 numbers that sum to 2020 and then output the correct answer here. So let's jump in. Let's go and open up here. There we go. So you all know I'm actually going to be working in Python 3.8. This is going to allow me to make use of some of the newer code that's been made available in the newest version of Python. But there are probably also going to be some things that I can't do with Python 3.8, and we'll just do that as we go along. We'll just do whatever we can. So I'm going to create a virtual environment -p Python 3.8. I'm going to call this venv. Okay, there we go. Python version 3.8. Okay, so let's start off by creating a way to import the data. And I've got my input.txt file, and we'll copy from the input.txt file. And I'm just going to copy for right now. I'm just going to copy the sample data. We don't even need to worry about the other data yet. We're just going to use the sample data. We're going to read in that data, so I'm just going to call this data is going to be equal to open input.txt. We want to open it in read mode. We're going to read the lines, okay, of that file. Now this is going to give us several lines, and you'll notice something here that we have new character lines in here. Okay, so we're gonna have to clean each of those out, and we're gonna have to essentially split the data in a different way. So read lines includes this new line character in there. So what I'm actually gonna do here is I'm gonna split the data on the new lines like that, and if I do that now instead, oh, there's no attribute split. That's because I need to.read the data first. There we go. So now I've got strings, okay? And I've got this empty thing here at the very end, which is not terribly helpful, right? Because I've got an empty line here at the end of my text file. So we're going to add in a .strip. There we go. Okay, so we're going to read the file, which takes the file and reads it as a text, and then it's going to strip the end white space from it, and then it's going to split on any white space that's in between. Specifically, not just any white space, but the new lines in the data file. So now we've got that data, but these are all strings. So we're going to turn these into integers, and we're going to use a list comprehension for this. So data is int record for record in data. So now if we rerun this, now we've got a bunch of integers. Okay, perfect. So now we've actually got to do something with the data itself. And we're going to create a function here that looks at finding the product of the sum based on, so we'll actually find the product, so the product if those two numbers sum to 2020. So what we'll do is we'll say prod of sum, or product, I could say product of sum here. And we've got our data, and we've got our number here. Actually, let's just have data, and we're going to say for, and we're going to iterate through the data, for record in data. Okay. And we're going to create an if statement if this is the main, and this will allow us to import this this particular function later if we decide to use it in a different challenge as well. So we'll have basically the function there, and we can duplicate the functionality. It's been known to happen, but we'll just see. Maybe that'll happen. It hasn't happened yet. So so part one here will be product of sum of data. Okay, so we're going to pass in this data information. So let's actually just take this, and we're going to put that up here in the if statement, and we will look at product of sum, and theoretically this will give us the result. And we're going to return something, so we'll actually just print this number out. Okay, so we're going to print the result of this particular function. So we've got the data, we pass it into product of sum, and that will give us the results. So for record in data, if record, we're going to need to double check this somehow. So we know that the sum, the total, should equal 2020. So we're going to say if 2020 minus record in the data. So this is a way of saying, okay, I want to look at every single record in the data itself, and if 2020 minus the record, which will be if we take the example that we have here, right? So if 1721 minus what is it? 366, is that the right one? Maybe. Nope, that's not the right one. Which is the right one? 1721 and 299, of course. There's 299. So 1721 and 299. So it's going to say 2020 minus 1721 is 299. If 299 is in there, then we want to print the product of those. So what we'll do here is we will we check and see, is 1721 in the data? If so, we want to return 2020 minus the record times the record. Okay, so we're taking the difference between the two times the record, and that should theoretically be part one right there. Okay, so let's see what that gives us. 51579. 514579. and the correct output is 514579. Perfect. Okay, so now we've got to get the rest of the puzzle input, which looks like this, and we'll jump over to the input.txt file. We'll resave that data, and we'll rerun this with the product of the sum. There we go. Okay, so that should be the right answer. Let's double check it against what they say in Advent of Code. And when we submit this, it'll take us, if we get it right, it'll tell us whether or not we get it right, and then we can continue to the next part of the problem. Yes, perfect. Okay, so we'll continue to part 2. There we go. Part 2, the elves in accounting. Second one, if you can find 3 numbers in your expense report that meet the same criteria. So the example from above, 979, 366, and 675 produces the answer that. Okay, so what we're going to do instead, because now we have to look for 3 different combinations, is we're actually going to import from a really handy Python library. So we're going to use itertools, okay? And we're going to import from itertools, we're going to import specifically permutations, okay? And this is going to allow us to go through every single number and do combinations of those numbers. So we're going to say that we're going to change this slightly, right? So for right now, we've actually found I, which is going to be I is going to be 2, or the combos. Let's actually just call this combo. So we've got our data and we've got our default combo, and we now need to say for let's say X in permutations data, this is going to be I, if the sum of X is 2020, then we return the product, and we're going to import from the math, import math.prod, should just be import from math, import prod. And we'll say we'll return the prod of X, like that. Combo. There we go. Okay, so theoretically, this will actually do the exact same thing that we just had. Let's test that and make sure. Perfect. Okay, so we do get the same exact result. Let's clear that out, make sure. Yep, okay. So this gives us the same exact result. Return the product just like that. And so theoretically, this one, right, we're now defaulting to a combination of 2. And now we actually only need to default, now we just need to put in a combination of 3. So this is going to be our part 2 solution. And we need to throw in a 3 instead of a 2. And theoretically, that will actually give us the correct answer. Wow, it took a little bit more time to run there, but that should be the correct answer. Let's throw that in there and see what it says. Okay, there we go. So just to quickly review what we did, we took a look at using permutations and the product, which will multiply all of the different values that are coming back in permutations. Let's just print out what that looks like. Print X here. So as you can see, it's going through all the different possible permutations of those 3 different of this data. So we've got probably like 1,000 different lines of data here. Actually, let's open it up and find out. Yeah, 200 actually, 200 inputs. And it goes through every possible 3 combinations of those 200 inputs and finds out which ones sum to 2020, and then it returns the product of those if it found those. So a very straightforward way of solving that particular problem. There we go. So let's just run that, double check, perfect. Okay, everything looks good. So if you have any questions, let me know below the video, or comments, concerns, accusations, anything like that. Happy to answer any questions that you guys have. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope this is useful. I'm planning on going through as many different days of Advent of Code as I can manage, and we will see you in the next video.